We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on East Carolina running back Keaton Mitchell, another late round guy, possible UDFA type of player, undersized, but one of the most shifty backs coming out in this NFL draft class. His lateral agility, his burst, super special to watch him out in space. I really like him, getting him later rounds, just because running backs end up dropping farther than you would expect. And since he's undersized, I like him as like that change of pace back, solid receiving threat out of the backfield. But just watching him work inside the tackles and outside the tackles, just making guys miss. It's super special. He'll make you miss in space. He can make you miss in tight corners. He's got good vision. He understands how to, work off his blocks. He's patient, and then he really loves to bounce to the outside. He's got that speed to capture the edge. Really good stuff watching his film. Like, he was a dominant player in college this past season for East Carolina, and just really explosive plays just all over his film. Really like watching Mitchell on his zone runs, especially on inside zone. He does a great job of just reading the leverage of his blocks, making quick decisions. He's very decisive. And then once he gets to the second and third level, he just makes these guys miss very easily. He's just reading the leverage of this block, working off this combo right here, and he sees this lane open up instantly, so he takes it too, presses up just enough to sort of square this guy up, and then make him miss in the hole, get skinny, dip his shoulder. He knows how to do that, and then instantly after that, he's already got his eyes snapped up to the next level, and you can just see how dynamic he is with his lateral cuts right here. He sticks that right from the ground, he jumps all this way laterally, he makes this guy look foolish out in space, and then still instantly re-accelerates. He picks him at maximized yards, and you can see the physicality. He's a little undersized, but you can see that he can take on contact, he can drop a shoulder into it, defender, he can stay on his feet. Like, he's not going to, break a bunch of tackles, like, with his physicality due to that size, but, like, he's a physical contact balance, like, it's pretty solid overall for this type of size. But really what makes him special is that elusiveness out in space. Just exciting, electric player to watch. Here we got Mitchell out of gun this time, working some outside zone to the right, but he's already cutting this back. He makes the guy miss in the backfield, and he loves to just get very creative with his running ability. And look at him just go out in space, making these guys miss. But watch this back a little more slowly here, working off the leverage. This guy instantly penetrates, and he reads this, and he like dips his shoulder, reduce the surface area of what this guy can tackle, and then runs through it, picks up his feet. That's a defensive lineman. A lot of smaller guys usually would trip over that, go down, and now he's just out in space, and he's already cutting this back all the way to this open side of the field, just reading, the leverage of these defenders, seeing that this safety is going to come out and take this, and he wants to maximize this yardage. You can just see the balance, keeps his feet there, great body control, get off the back of his block, and then once he's out in space, just creativity, pick up those feet, slow down, change pace, start spinning, doing crazy things. Just an absolute dynamic player that is going to be fun to watch, I think, at the next level if he really gets a chance to get the ball in his hands. I think he's a solid day 3 guy. You get him as a number 2 back. Change of pace, especially if you got a bigger body guy that pounds down the middle. Like, I think you get Mitchell the ball, and like getting him the ball as like a receiver out of the backfield, just in the flat screens types of things. He can really excel in those types of areas too. Mitchell, again, outside zone, out of gun, just finding the cutback lane, reading the leverage of his blocks, the vision, and then bouncing this all the way, not to the outside, but bouncing it all the way back, really getting the bend on this play. You can just see him read the leverage of this blocks instantly. This guy shoots up field, sort of resets the line of scrimmage, so he's already, down to these defenders and just reading leverage. He's got outside leverage. He presses up into it and now accelerates up the field, and now he's just wants to work off the back of 70, and by pressing as far as he did up here, if he tried to shoot up quickly, then 90 would have gotten to him. But now that he pressed up, he's able to get to the second level. It allows this block to develop, and he just shoots back, sees this, he gets completely horizontal here to get around this second block, pick up his feet. He has a natural feel. This is just pure instincts, like when someone dives at your feet, to pick them up like that. Got to have that as a running back. And you just see him get to the next level, just making these big plays out of nowhere. Love the creativity. When things break down as a runner, he can make plays happen. Great patience here from Keaton Mitchell, working some inside zone, just reading the leverage of his blocks. Active feet. He never stops moving his feet, but he stays patient. His eyes are scanning the field, and as I say, he loves to bend these plays back to the opposite side here. He tries to, shoot through this gap initially, working off 95, and then wants to bounce to the other gap, but once he sees 95, this linebacker might fill right here, this gap is taken away. He then, stays patient, stays square, active feet, his eyes are looking all over the field, and now he sees this full-on cutback lane, and he has the speed to get there. You don't always want to see your running backs cutting it or bouncing. You want to see them just hit the hole sometimes. But if you have the ability to get to the bounces, the cutback lanes, and you make the plays, like Keaton Mitchell has the ability, the athleticism to get there with his lateral cuts and pure burst and speed. Like he's he tested really, really well. Like even for being really small, like his RAS, relative athletic score, was still very high, even though like your size usually brings you down a decent amount if you're on the smaller size. And Mitchell still tested off the charts. Another example of Mitchell pressing, cutting, press up to the box, stay patient, stay square, and then bounce to the outside once he's lulled the players in. Just a nice rep from a process standpoint. Work up, press into 94, presses up, gets 41 to come down, even, gets this safety to come down enough where he can get to the outside, and then he has this speed. He's like, plays it with slow tempo too. If he just instantly cuts the outside, this guy's going to easily have outside leverage, but he gets closer and closer to him, and then now turns on the jets to get to the outside. Really excellent play. He knows how to get to the edges using tempo manipulation, pressing the line of scrimmage to get second level and third level defenders where he wants them to be, setting up his blocks, and then using that athleticism to capture it. More explosiveness on display here for Mitchell. Quickly, decisive. You can just see the speed. He ends up stepping out of bounds here, unfortunately. Just barely gets that foot out. You can just see how explosive he is on this play. This offensive lineman right here completely whiffs this block on the linebacker, and he wants to shoot up just straight into this gap. And he was trying to do it, but now he's kind of taking this away, so he slows down just enough, gets this patient, makes this defensive lineman not completely set the edge here, and, allows 70 to really get this block, and then bounces it to the outside. So love the pressing ability, and then now just pure speed, burst, explosiveness. Like, these guys have the angle on him. 20 and 3 should at least be able to push him out of bounds here. He does step out of bounds, so that was more on his own. Like right there, but he had the speed to get past him and possibly score. Like, his athleticism is truly outstanding. He really loves to bounce it and bend these runs. Like, he doesn't always hit the hole, but he sees that opportunity to get to the outside. Obviously, it's something he's going to have to do less of at the next level because that's not always going to be there. There's more disciplined play at the NFL level, but he took his opportunities in college. You can see he can shoot straight through. Like, a lot of running backs would just shoot straight into this hole. If they did that, probably would only gain like 3-4 yards. This defensive end would probably come off, make the tackle, but he stays patient, presses it, and then gets both of these defenders to commit down to the hole they think he's going to hit, and then he bounces it to the outside, and he has the speed to get there. Just another example of him doing that play after play. A nuanced player in those areas, loves being a zone runner where he can, be a little more creative. Didn't see a ton of gap scheme runs, at least in the film I watched, so I would wonder how he does on those types of things. But as a zone runner, definitely very comfortable in that area. Last play that I'm going to break down for Keaton Mitchell. Just this time on zone read, getting to the outside again, just pure speed, pure burst. You can just see him score very easily. Nothing too crazy on that play. We'll go back, break this down a little more slowly here. Just a zone read. This defense end ends up getting the quarterback. And now he's just basically one-on-one versus this guy. And he presses up, allows this, defender right here to get pulled in to this block. And he doesn't even really need to get the block, but he pulls him in just enough to get out to this space. A lot of running backs right here. This is like a process. This is what sets sort of these runners apart. A lot of times they'll instantly just try to run to the space. But you got to press this up, get the defenders where you want them to be, and then bounce it to the outside. Pure speed. The fluidity he plays with as well. Like, he's athletic in many ways. He's not just a straight line runner. He's got the lateral cuts, lateral agility, foot quickness, but he's also got the lower body flexion that you want. Just an all-around athlete, very explosive. And then you see him run in a straight line. He's also got that burst and speed to score anytime he touches the ball. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I like Keaton Mitchell as a late round guy, solid running back overall, fun change of pace player. If he ends up in the right situation, I could see him having an impact to the next level. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.